In the year 2001, Nigeria was on top of the world. A young Nigerian lady from Rivers State named Agbani Darego had just made history as the first Black African lady to be crowned the Miss World crown. Her victory felt like a unifying moment of pride for Nigeria, and to honor her win, Nigeria was chosen to host the 2002 edition of the Miss World Beauty Pageant. The stage was all set in the city of Abuja, and Nigeria had a chance to shine on a global level. But what began as a celebration of beauty and culture will soon descend into one of the deadliest religious crises in Nigeria's history. Hello everyone, and welcome to Sabi Insights. Today, we'll be discussing about the events leading to the 2002 religious crisis that occurred in Kaduna State, Nigeria. If you are new here, please do subscribe to this channel and also follow us on all our social media platforms. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. From the start, there was resistance against hosting the Miss World pageant in Nigeria. Conservative Muslim groups in northern Nigeria warned that the pageant was indecent, un-Islamic, and an insult to their values, arguing that parading women on stage during the month of Ramadan was an insult to their faith. The controversy grew even bigger when it collided with the highly publicized case of one Amina Lawal, a woman who was sentenced to death by stoning in Kaduna State for adultery under Sharia law. International human rights groups condemned the sentence, and the Miss World organization also joined in the criticism. Against this backdrop, on the 16th day of November 2002, the Lagos-based newspaper This Day published a column that would trigger the violence. In an attempt to defend the hosting of the Miss World pageant in Abuja, a 21-year-old journalist by the name Isioma Daniel wrote the following in publication, and I quote, "The Muslims thought it was immoral to bring 92 women to Nigeria and ask them to revel in vanity. What would Muhammad think? In all honesty, we probably have chosen a wife from one of them." End of quote. This remark was perceived as blasphemous by many Muslims. Within days, outrage swept across northern Nigeria. Islamic leaders denounced the paper, mosques echoed with anger, and Muslim protesters gathered on the streets. Sensing danger, on the 19th day of November 2002, This Day newspaper issued a front-page apology. But by then, it was already too late. The damage was already done. Anger spread like wildfire throughout northern Nigeria and in Kaduna State, a city where Christians and Muslims lived side by side. The violence started on the morning of November 20th, 2002. Angry mobs stormed This Day's office in Kaduna, setting it ablaze. What followed thereafter was 3 days of non-stop killings. Kaduna State became a city of fire and death. Churches were attacked, businesses looted, and houses were burnt down. According to reports, mobs erected roadblocks, dragging passengers off buses to check names or religious markers. Also, house-to-house attacks happened in mixed districts like Tudunwada and Barnawa, and many fled to police stations and army barracks for safety. Entire neighborhoods became battlegrounds. Christians were hunted in some areas, while Muslims were hunted in others. Families were displaced, as most persons fled with only the clothes on their backs. On the first day, the violence largely targeted Christians, but by the second day, reprisal attacks began Christian youths armed with dangerous weapons retaliated, touching mosques and hunting down Muslims in revenge. That same evening, the organizers of Miss World Pageant made a dramatic announcement that the pageant will no longer hold in Nigeria. Instead, the contestants will be flown to London where the final would later take place. The governor of Kaduna State at the time, Ahmed McCarthy, imposed a sweeping curfew, and soldiers and riot policemen were deployed in large numbers. Armored personnel carriers rode through the streets and patrols began to forcefully disperse mobs. By November 23, 2002, which was the third day of the violence, the combined effects of curfew, security crackdowns, and desperate calls for peace from both Christian and Muslim leaders finally brought relative calm. Human Rights Watch later estimated that over 250 people were killed in just 3 days. Entire neighborhoods laid in ruins. More than 100 churches, nearly 40 mosques, and countless homes and businesses were destroyed in the violence. For Isioma Daniel, a 21 years old journalist whose article had sparked the rage, life would never remain the same for her. On the second day of violence, a fatwa was declared against her in northern Nigeria, calling for her death. The threat was real, and Isioma Daniel had to flee Nigeria to Europe under the protection of human rights organizations. The federal government of Nigeria, under the leadership of President Olusegun Obasanjo, strongly condemned the violence and also declared the fatwa on Isioma Daniel as ridiculous and unconstitutional. In the aftermath of the violence, arrests were made and investigations showed that the violence was not just about religion. Kaduna State Governor admitted that political thugs and pre-election rivalries played a role. Human Rights Watch would later criticize the authorities both for failing to prevent the violence in its early stages and for the role some security forces played in committing abuses during the crackdown. The Miss World Beauty Pageant continued in London, and on the 7th day of December 2002, Hazva Hakim of Turkey was crowned Miss World. If you found this video insightful, please do well to like, share, leave a comment for us. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time.